Welcome back to Drawing Blood, episode 10. I'm here alone today. Bob is off seeing his youngest sister getting married. So that's always exciting. He's off to a wedding and up the island a little, so he's going to be having fun. And I'm going to be having fun doing this while I sort of skip on my obligations as running a studio and doing client work. So, let's see, where were we here? We started last week, or we continued last week, I should say, working on the intro storyboards for our video game Blood, which, those of you just joining us and not knowing much about hashtag Blood, is a top-down adventure that follows middle school-aged vampire hunter. So, I'm going to just start right now, and I'll let you know if it's all good. Just gonna watch it down real quick, see where it ended up last week. Yeah, we started with that. Oh yeah, we got all that. That was the stuff we were gonna touch on last week. I can continue on some of this stuff too. Alright. Let me just make sure all this stuff's working here. Yeah. Okay. Alright. So let me just watch down one more time, get my bearings. Sure. Alright, that's Christoph. Yeah, we had to do. So there's a few things we had to fix. But I wanted to start off with this scene, which we're just going to make a symbol, I think. Because this was going to bleed into another 10-12 seconds. So let me see. Alright. So we're going to call this, let's see. I'm just going to call it chase scene for now. We'll have to reorganize the library when we fix all that kind of stuff. Chasing. Oh, hey, how you doing? Cold Waffle Animations. How you doing? Thanks for joining. You're the first one here, so if my audio is a little wonky or the picture's not showing up, just let me know. Bob, my tech's not here, so we'll try to fix it. And who's that? I can't see. Sorry, there's a glare on my screen. It's bright here today. And Chaos Tunes. Ooh, a bunch of animators, it looks like. How's everyone doing on this fine Friday? You guys getting all your work done? I'm not. We have a lot going on at the studio, but I don't want to skip any more of these because that's a dangerous path when you start skipping stuff and then it just becomes just part of the things you don't do and stuff. So we do definitely want to make time every week to at least get something done. And I feel like by the end of the year, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, 2 hours every Friday, that's 100 hours. That wasn't there. Trying, yeah. I'm currently on a burnout. Yeah. Bob and I are so burnt right now. We've had a lot of tough kind of jobs kind of going forward. And just, they didn't have to be hard and they ended up being tough. But I think we're kind of out of the woods and onto the next sort of hardest job. But I think we know how to manage it. Yeah, this industry is, it's interesting. So I'm going to change the background color of this sort of, again, just to get a little bit of context on this. Let me change it to the, that's good. Just going to move this back a little bit. So last week, of those of you joining us, we sort of roughed out a lot of the timing kind of issues we were having with the end there, with the big villain kind of showing up, and I kind of glazed over this part where we're kind of reintroducing all three characters as they kind of interact with each other, and we're going to do sort of like a vampire kind of wave, almost like this giant entity of all these vampires kind of in there and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna start by just doing some like a simple kind of run cycle for Corey, and this is storyboard stuff, so it'll just be, hey Joe Whimsy, how you doing? Glad to see you back. I'm gonna just do a quick little up and down sort of thing, just so we have this kind of funny thing. And what's great about Flash is that I can make this a symbol, and then when I go into animation, I'll just replace this so all the timing and stuff stays the same. And that's sort of how we approach our boards, to build it up organically, and it's sort of the foundation of our animation. Can't miss any of this. Oh, that's sweet. We were thinking about skipping today. Bob's not being here. He has family obligations. All good news though. A wedding to go to. But then I was like, yeah, what's an hour and a half, 2 hours, gonna do? And I could always work the weekend if I need. Much to my wife and kids' chagrin, but sometimes you have to make do. That's animators know. Story run cycle. So I'm just going to do something quick. And for storyboard run cycles, I don't even kind of swap the legs. I just do something cartoonish. He'll be up in the air, and then we'll keep the. I do with the run cycle sometimes. I always start with the air, then I'll draw the horizon line or where he lands or she lands. And then we can do something funny, and I'll rough this out real quick. I would like to take my niece to the nerdy thing this weekend, but I'm a deadline with a client. Yeah, we are too with a client. I think, it's starting to go live and stuff, so I think we're out of the woodwork, but they seem to have a lot more changes every time we sort of hand something in, so we're kind of in a holding pattern. It's the nature of the beast. Drinking White Claw by yourself this year. No, Andrew, I don't have any today. And the last time I had a few of them, and this is the good thing that they're not our sponsor now. So I'm glad no one from White Claw is listening. I got a little, burpy and nauseous and stuff, but that could have just been the stress of not of all the work we're doing. I understand you're busy too, right, Andrew? What's it, right? The storyboards are magically different from the animation center. Yeah, no, the client always seemed as, with commercial work, and the thing we did was commercial, the product was sort of the last thing that we were working on. So that all got changed, but they were part of the character animations. So, we were stuck kind of re-implementing all the animation with the new product, which, we would have just done in the first place. But cooler minds will prevail tomorrow. March is when you're busy. Yeah, oh yeah, with, because of, can I tell everyone where you work, Andrew? Or is that secret? Or do you want to tell them? Because, okay, so Andrew works for MLB, or is it MLB? Major League Baseball, where, so his busiest months are the months prior to spring training, which is happening in March. So he does a lot of the programming over there for some of their interactive stuff. So he's in the sticks, Bob and I are in the sticks. Greg is actually... I think where's Greg, Andrew? He's somewhere in California on GDC perhaps? And he's there representing his company. And that's what we're that's how we have to make do with all this kind of stuff for us, because blood doesn't pay the bills. Oh, that would be nice one day. San Diego. Oh, Cody chimes in. Cody, let us know if the audio's messed up, because Bob's not here. And not that I could do anything, but let us know. Yeah, and Cody works for Publishers Clearinghouse and doing Unity for other clients of theirs and his other sister company. So we're all very busy doing all this stuff. But like I said, I'm glad to see everyone here too, amongst everyone being busy. You could talk to me since Bob's not here. Doing color commentary. So let me just do this real quick. So this will be sort of the timing for Corey's run cycle, and he's kind of a sissy, so we kind of want him scared and running around and all that stuff. So let me color that in so you can see. Just color that in real quick. Do a shadow layer since we don't have a horizon right now. You guys are rock stars. Oh, I don't know about that. Rock stars who don't get paid or aren't famous. Is it we're garage rock stars. Okay, so I can kind of see him being this funny thing. So I got these guys back here. I'm going to change the background color one more time to kind of not a gray. So we'll keep that on guide layer. Now, so we got Corey here. Zooms out. Now we have this running. So we're gonna set up just a fake pan here, and I'll show you how we do that. Kind of fudge it a little bit. So what I'll do for a pan, and we'll fix this in background, is I'll make this section. Okay, this is a background element already. It's already a symbol. So I'm gonna break that actually. I'm gonna take these parts. Twist it that way for now. And what I'll do is make it, this will be section 1 of 3 for an infinite loop background we're going to work on. And those of you who see my short coin, there's tons of those kind of backgrounds where they all kind of link up and loop. And Tom and Jerry, I think, actually started that. Maybe Popeye did it, but it's where you take similar background elements and link them up, so you can essentially have an infinite loop. They do it with fences a lot in cartoons or roads or anything like this. We're going to have a straight horizon line here, and that's how we're going to keep it. So I'll just call this chase scene BG element 1. Then I'm going to edit it. I'm going to make it another symbol. So this outside will be the infinite pan. Chasing BG element 01 pan. So this is simple now. I'm going to copy and paste it. So there's 2 of them now. And I usually just count out loud so I know the exact number I can click. I'm at 50% on top of here, where the percentage is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Okay. Now I do it again, but I go the other way. Looks like it's right about there. And I hit shift and move it so I know the exact thing. Now, this is important in MX. I know in Animate, if you extend within the symbol, the work area does, but MX doesn't have that. And you can still work with it, but it could get very clunky. And I've noticed that the MX crashes for two reasons: when you work outside the work area, and when you add a lot of line work and all that kind of stuff. Kind of typical Flash problem. So what I'll do is make this whole thing extended, all three, the biggest pan scene. So I'll call that chase scene. Excuse my spelling. Pan BG all. You do that too? Yeah, I count out loud all the time. Like the defenders. So now, since it's outside the work area, what I do is shrink it to 25%. And I'll do it in intervals of 50 or 25 or 75. So now I got it this small. I'll make it, let's say, a second long for now. We can adjust this later. Then I'll put on the onion skin so I can see it. Just, goes the other way since he's running against the grain. Line it up like that, so I make sure that's the same as the first one. Then just motion and no ease in, ease out, since it's sort of, we'll see how fast that is. Now the trick for this, I'm gonna show you, once I like the timing, I'll show you what I do next. So we get Corey here. Now we remember I did it 25%. I'm gonna blow it up to 400% so it gets back to the 100 original, since it's a quarter. And now we kind of got this thing, and that's a decent, I mean, we'll watch it in the, to get rid of the other background. It's pretty fast. I might slow it down to 36. And this, again, I do on beats, so it'll be a second and a half, 2 seconds, you know, sort of intervals. So I'll go to 36 frames. See how that looks outside. Probably a little more natural there. And we can always duplicate the symbol and speed it up when we need to. So now you'll notice with these pans, it'll have one frame where it kind of stalls. So you just take the second to last frame, click on it, and erase the last frame. Now, when it hits 36 and it's on loop playback, it'll be frame 1 again. So there won't be any degradation. Alright, so we got that speed. So he'll be running away here. And what's nice about this now, I can adjust the size if I need to. So say I wanted it like a little bit smaller. I can just adjust the symbol and then we can correct it in animation. Yeah, that's probably a better size since we kind of want to get all three of them in here. Go inside here, double click. So we got these guys. I'm just gonna put them here as sort of a guide layer right now, because I want to sort of map out this like massive kind of vampire wave. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna treat it sort of like liquid too. So he's running here. We're gonna kind of stay on him for a second while that builds up. So he's running, and we're gonna instantly start with this wave coming here. And I'll just treat that. We can fill it out later. This kind of shadow, since they're all sort of shadow vampires, or we might, we might not do the shadow vampires for this part. So it's a little more colorful, but I'm just going to treat it like that. So this thing's going to build up, and I'll just map out sort of what I want the wave to do. So it'll build up. Maybe it'll like antic a little bit. So yeah, it'll kind of go up to that. storyboard. Now this is sort of just like my line of action. It's not really something we'll necessarily use in it, but I just want to get the motion for now. Gonna come crashing down. Flashing. Just gonna keep this super loose. Not that it's water, but this will be like arms or something, you know, when we get to it. They sort of come crashing down, and there'll be this just a giant ball of evil, kind of almost like an amoeba. We could shrink this too because it's taking up a lot of real estate. And Corey will be dodging this, real scared. Did I hear you mention liquid? No, did I mention? Oh, liquid. That was Cody and I when we were both working on theses when we were at SVA. Cody was an interactive major, and I was an animation major, so we decided to make a video game. We were going to do this really... Yeah, a lot of students do this. We just went way overboard and thought we could make a whole role-playing game within 2 semesters. We had this idea of this kind of living liquid kind of thing with role-playing. You know, it was going to be very much in the spirit of Final Fantasy, like 6 or 3, as some people know it. We kind of pulled a plug on that halfway through. And then we came up with a way simpler game, which we made called Ninja Bear, which is as simple as it sounds. But you got it on the Game Boy at one. You could play it on the Game Boy at one point. I forget which Game Boy. I think Game Boy Color. This kind of dates us, but that was 2003. So they'll kind of act like this thing, and then so I'm gonna probably shrink all this actually because this, like I said, it's taking up a little too much space for. Gonna select all. Whoops. So then we'll so I'll animate all this action of what I'm kind of mapping out of my head, and then we'll kind of coordinate with Corey later. So they stay here. I'm assuming Corey's either going to jump front or back, so I'll have him shoot up to around this area, like right here. So they will kind of react and chase him a little bit. So they'll kind of sink down into this kind of thing, then shoot up, kind of like that. And then we can just play with the shape. So he'll be like, say, up here now, like something like that. Game Boy Advance. Oh, that's what it was on. Do we have any footage of that, Cody? You could really embarrass us. You won't think we were making a game if you saw that. So we can really extend that a lot. Doing kind of a super ease out here. Almost like a giant kind of entity now, like that'll suck back into that. Oh, they're trying to find some. Oh man. Keep in mind there was no Cintiqs or anything back then. We were doing the pixel art out. I was using a light table. Cody was doing Photoshop and pixels, and as pretty rudimentary as and we had no knowledge of what we were doing. But sort of like then the thing kind of reacts like that. So we'll again just play with shapes. Oh, the days before. Yeah. No, I don't miss those days. My light table, I still have that in my parents' house. They never had the heart to throw it out. Probably bring it into the studio. We have enough junk here though. And I coordination. Yeah. So kind of just making a path of action. Makes sense. So it's almost like a swarm of bees, but they'll all be. Flipping paper. I was I got nerve damage from cleaning up. I shot everything on ones on everything I did in school. I was very stubborn with that, so I always press. I still press hard. That's why I have a Cintiq protector. But I ended up getting like, it's hard to see on this, but I got a calcium deposit on my middle finger and nerve damage on my index finger still. But I might have got that one. I was a carpenter for a while too, so the nerve damage started when I was a roofer, I think. But I always managed to press hard and hold the hammer hard. Like, I might have anger issues. So like that. And they'd be like they shoot off while he runs that way. That way we can play with the angle here. Alright, so we can always make this longer too. Now I kind of just made, we were going to go for 30 seconds, but the way I saw it now, it's like, it wasn't all, I mean, it's action kind of heavy, but I mean, I feel like we got to the villain too quick, so I wanted to get more of this kind of stuff before we kind of crescendo at the end. So we'll just have to extend that. Just gonna move all this, and I'll just extend it. Okay. So around here, just gonna redline this one. I'll have Corey looking scared. If I have a big head, kind of here. Go super cartoony on with Corey. I like playing with proportions like that. What is this, Cody? I can't click on it. Is that the Ninja Bear stuff? Oh man. Uploads Ninja. You have to let me know what that is, Cody. I assume it's Ninja Bear with Ninja in it. I might change that drawing. Here's the screenshot I found. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. You can text me it. I'm just afraid to click on anything on this thing because then all hell breaks loose. Okay, so he's gonna sort of maybe go down, swoosh out of there. Oh man. I guess everyone starts somewhere. I look at stuff I did a couple months ago though and I get embarrassed, so I'm sure every artist sort of feels a little similar. So he's gonna dodge this way now. Or maybe he'll slide down it kind of like he's just avoiding him. Kind of playing like, you know, he's not supposed to be like very dexterous or anything. Though he looks like Dexter, but like using dexterity. And you know, maybe roll. Yeah. So he's gonna roll. So we'll roll that way. Kind of roll this way. Jump up again. And he's gonna start running this way. Towards the camera. Alright, so we can clean some of this up now and then he'll be gone by then. So that'll be fun, and we'll use that as sort of the, like, now Becky will kind of slide in here and do her little secondary course of fighting more vampires. She's, again, more stealthy and stuff, and maybe we can coordinate that with Kristoff fighting, and then they all sort of meet together, like kind of back, and we end up at this point where we all zoom out. So it'll be a little tracking stuff we have to figure out and all that stuff. So I'm just going to clean this up now. And you see, this is what I was mentioning before about how there's stuff in the work area. So what I'm going to do is actually move all this action right now a little more to the center, so I don't have an issue when I go into the symbols. Which will also mean I have to change a symbol here, but that won't be a big issue. Okay, so let's clean up some Corey. These are fun little poses. Corey's one of the more fun characters because he can get away with a lot, and he has one of the more expressive faces. Plus, I like playing with the glasses as his eyes. Just one of the beauties about cartoons is we don't. I know a lot of people are dead set on, making sure it's on model and all that stuff, but I always use the adage that, as long as it looks funny or it looks fun or whatever feeling you're going for, then the character, if it looks right in that universe, then, who cares if he has a couple buttons missing on his shirt or a shoelace missing on his, this doesn't have to be, we don't have to take everything so literal. And that's sort of where a lot of our clients' stuff, we butt heads with them on that kind of end, is they tend to take things so literal, and we're talking about stuff that in the grand scheme of things, are we getting the idea across? And that's where I want to be. If it's, we're arguing about stuff like the color of a shoe or something like that, I'm not really that interested in it. And that's sort of where they all kind of float around that area. God. People just wanted to say that they directed on the project. Yeah, we get a lot of, we, like, through certain agencies or something, like, people we work with, we'll work with, like, tour people, and they'll be the, kind of our point of contact, and, through the life of the project, we'll see, 7, 8 more people kind of chime in way after the fact. And it's always like, how big are these places and how many cooks are in this kitchen? It's frustrating. We usually get flat rates for everything. So anytime we have to redo something or make something new or address a note that's seems sort of insidious or repetitious, we're losing money. But that's sort of the nature of it. Even when I wasn't running a studio, I saw shades of that happening to my old boss. I'd be curious to know how, like, bigger studios handle it, because I feel like any time you kind of redo something, you're also paying your employees to kind of redo something. So I don't know if they have a clause in it where they just get more money at the end of it, or... So let's see, what we're going to have is... I'll go here. Yeah, no, I love that documentary about Rhythm and Cue. Well, I don't. Let me clarify. I don't like what happened to them, but I like that it kind of brought to light what's going on in the visual effects industry. Now that's something we never did anything theatrical, for movies, but I understand you kind of make a bid and then you're kind of beholden to the bid regardless of what the director or a producer thinks has to happen. And it just sounded like that was completely micromanaged when Life of Pi or whatever bankrupt them did. And it's like they made that movie. I mean, if you didn't have special effects, it was just one kid in a green screen in a raft. You know, that was purely visual. Yeah, my old college roomie was. Oh, really? What did they do? That is sad. It must really sting. You know these. You know, I didn't even know these people, and I felt bad for them. So knowing someone. That animated the tiger, yeah. And that went on to win an Oscar, right? It's crazy what they do. Yeah, I think that one to win something, at least probably for visuals, if not something else, and then to have the company, then the director stands up there and takes all the credit. Weird. Yes, it did. They closed their doors then 2 weeks after. And that wasn't like a flash in the pan company, this Rhythm and You. They were around for 25, 26 years prior to all this. I think the industry just changed. But what's nice, I mean, that was when it's sort of in its rough patch, I feel like. It's still in a rough place, but now there's just more options for studios to go to. You know, when Bob and I first started, and this was only 6 years ago, you know, but it was before sort of Netflix took off and all these things and all this sort of internet stuff. I mean, they don't get me wrong, the internet was still doing stuff, but not like paid content too much. So now we have a lot more avenues to kind of pitch to when we do pitch ideas. So we're not just stuck with our contacts at Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney. Which because we're a small studio, they don't, we don't really have a plan to get a series done anyway. Like if, say, we had a series greenlit, which, that's never happened, but since we're playing hypothetical, I wouldn't have, outside of the knowing people in bigger studios and maybe reaching out to them, we wouldn't have a way to scale, especially out here. I mean, you see this room, it's pretty tiny, and, we're far from New York City. And, then it comes, the question comes, do you have a studio backing and stuff? And I think that's what they're looking for now. It's more about, like, we like your idea, but how do we execute this? Because they want to minimize their risk, too. Oh, is this your first stream? We can, we don't always have to do it on Fridays in the middle of the day for some of you people. We could always switch it up. We just try to keep a little consistent. So, but thanks for joining. So yeah, like I was saying, we talked to this higher up at one of these new kind of factions, and he was all about saying, how could you guys get your idea completed? Not so much we'll provide the funding, but we need an idea of how you're going to execute that. Now, when I was working at Augenblick Studios, this fantastic studio. If you guys don't know Augenblick, I imagine you all do, but if you don't, you should totally look them up. They're a Brooklyn-based animation studio house. It has, upwards of 30 to 60 people working at it there at any time. And we worked on really cool shows, Wonder shows in Super Jail Season 1, Ugly Americans, a lot of sort of adult-based humor. Um, and I got a first-hand look at how, he managed his crew, which was when you're working on those bigger projects, is upwards of 30 or 60 people and stuff. So I sort of have an idea of what it would take to run it, but getting the manpower and everyone on board and all that stuff, that's the tricky part, I think. Because I'm sure all of you have an idea that you would love to go to series, and we do too. And just figuring it out. And that's sort of what they're interested in now. Oh, cool. Joe Whimsy, thank you, Joe Whimsy. You're always you're always helping us out promotion wise. We really appreciate it. Blood is this thing that when we first started it, we were. It started as a short that Bob and I made, and we never really even pitched it, and then we were looking. Cody, Bob and myself wanted to make a game, and we weren't sure what we like the style. We sort of had an idea of what we wanted to do, so we kind of just picked up our short since it never got pitched and kind of went in the ground running. And we were playing with the style for a while. It wasn't always like this 90s kind of Cartoon Network stuff. It was no holding lines, kind of a Samurai Jack thing a little bit. So we were really kind of playing around. And then, we finally showed stuff that we were making, and people really responded to the style of it being a lot more cartoony than, say, the short was. So, that it's from there, it just really inspired us to keep going and showing more stuff and all that stuff. So it's an interesting thing we're doing here, where we're trying to get a big audience watching us and giving, away like where we are in the process and stuff, and try to keep nothing under lock and key. Yeah, no, Jo Whimsy's the best. We tried to send her some artwork, and it got after a big trial and error. It made it there, but the frame got destroyed. So we owe her more than just a wrinkled up piece of poster that we sent her. But no, what I like about this is that we are trying to keep the audience very into it and stuff, and I don't want to, other than story elements and secrets in the game and like level design, I would like to keep everyone involved, and it's a good acid test to where we should be, and it's if someone in the audience is really into something, we can lean into that a little bit. And I'm not sure why more studios don't do that. I'll frame it later for now. Let's see. Okay, good. That's good, Joe Whimsy. Because, no, I was disappointed to hear that it got destroyed after you were waiting so patiently for it. The line weights a little different here, but that's Storyboards. So you can see Corey's changing a lot and stuff, but he's almost the comic relief in this, if we consider it comedy. He's getting chased, but we kind of want him. The misdirect is that he saved the day and now he's scared and running away. And I'll probably just use this timing to animate. Now, that not to say I won't tweak some of it, but I try to get this as foolproof as possible. So when I'm working late at night and my brain's not working, I could just sort of clean up these drawings and just kind of go there and look back and be like, oh, okay, that worked. Oh, okay. This is gonna age us. This is Flash MX, which is the predecessor to what's now known as Adobe Animate, and we use Adobe Animate. In fact, I'm using it on a project right now for one of our clients, because we have assets that they use in Adobe Animate. But if we had the choice, we always sort of gravitate towards MX because it's a little less buggy. It doesn't crash as much. The undos work a little bit better, and it just feels more kind of conducive to drawing in a traditional way. So we try to use that as much as we can. All our personal projects are done in MX. But it's the same exact principles. I mean, F6 does the same thing as Adobe Animate, and all that stuff. And I can actually open. What's nice about this is I can open it in Adobe Animate, and it should work. Other than if you animate groups, it doesn't work as good in Adobe Animate. I think it turns into tweens, or I don't know what they did with that, but no, we tried to update, but it wasn't doing it so much. My first stream was like, holy Flash, what version of Flash? No, yeah, people are a little confused. It's a little different interface too. No, this is the thing. There's gonna be in 10 years when someone else is doing a stream there, and whatever's after Adobe Animate, someone's going to grow up in the industry with Adobe Animate and gravitate towards that too. So I'm trying to be aware of the fact that I just happen to be comfortable with this program because it's what I learned everything in, industry-wise too. And my first job was with, my first job digital-wise. When I first entered the field, we were still doing stuff on paper. But my first, I guess, real job after school was in Flash MX, so I always had a special place to it, and I learned so much in there, and I kind of kept it going. So he's gonna loop. But no, I totally recommend it, and we bought this, and you have to rent Adobe Animate too, which I've never been a fan of, kind of pay to play kind of stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's and I see people do amazing work in Animate too, so I'm sure if I got comfortable enough with it, I would probably gravitate towards it, but if things slow down, maybe, which they have no real, it doesn't look that way for a while. We got a lot of jobs lined up, and I want to get this intro finished for a festival we're a part of, and every time we get new jobs, this gets pushed back a little. One of the curses of animation is you never get to really work on your own stuff as much as you need to. I guess starting to put the Toon Boom. Yeah, I never worked in Toon Boom, but I hear good things from that too. And I think it's I treat everything as a tool. Like I have nothing really against Animate other than it crashes a lot. So I just want to use the best tool for what we're making. And MX just happens to be the best tool for something that's sort of more hand-drawn, I feel like. It's just less cumbersome, I feel like. There's less options to mess up almost. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of rotate this, since that now what I'll do? I'll make that a symbol for a somersault. So when I clean it up, it's done. That looks pretty crappy, but for this, So he's going like that. I can actually go like this and maybe. Yeah. So you'll have to pretend I actually in between that. Timing charts, yeah. Is that what Toon Boom uses? Timing charts? Like X sheets? One of my first jobs when I was, I got paid as a student at one point. It was just a part-time job, but it was for the pilot of the show Venture Brothers, which was ages ago. They were doing a lot of I was just doing cleanup work and traditional animation on it, but I know because it was getting sent overseas or sent elsewhere. I'm not exactly sure, but they were doing a lot of X sheets and stuff, and I could never wrap my head around it. I didn't understand it, and I know one of the guys I really like, Mike Milo, who's a veteran animator in LA. He does classes on X sheets and stuff, and I always had an interest in how it worked, but it seems like you sort of storyboard out with just on the side of what looks like an Excel sheet, and then it's sent somewhere. I'm just such a person that I need to see it move that I would never trust my timing in my head almost, especially just on paper. But he grew up in the industry a lot earlier than I did, so he was doing a lot of traditional animation when there was no other option but to do it traditionally. So he must have ironclad brain for that kind of stuff. Oh, you know Mike? Yeah, he's the best. I love him. He's sort of like I just see. I agree with almost everything he says. He has a real talent, and he has a knack for teaching too, which I always admire in people, especially animators. When when you just show students or younger animators how to do stuff, I always enjoyed that, and he's been very open about doing all that. As animation students, they just gotta know how to understand it, just in case. I feel bad for missing stuff. Yeah, me too. I only caught his live streams after the fact. I've seen him do stuff, so I never got to see him live. So no, they probably should tell students how to do that. I mean, timing is everything in animation, so and I think a lot of like the LA based animation studios who send stuff abroad do X sheets still, so but here at Exit 33 we try to keep everything in house. Not to say we don't hire freelancers when we need to. We just had to hire one for a couple days to get all this stuff done. A talented guy that I used to work with called Jared Deal. He's a really good character designer, and he lives upstate New York, and I've worked with him in the past. So I just send him files, and he knows exactly what to do. It's really helpful. But the life of a freelancer is very roguelike. Like, he's upstate New York. He just moved, looking for freelance and stuff. And, I was just able to hire him for a couple days as we needed him, and he was available. And that's the life of a freelancer. It's a lot of, picking yourself up after a gig and trying to find new work and stuff. But the longer you're at it, the easier it gets, and the better your reputation becomes and all that stuff. But it could be daunting at times. He has a kid and a mortgage too, so double pressure. Oh, you're a freelancer as well? Could you tell us are you working on anything now? Or do you have NDAs that you can't? We have so many NDAs right now. I wish I could talk more about the stuff we're working on, but it's we work for some pretty big clients right now. But once it airs, which I think it airs next week, the latest thing we did. We did 2 jobs at once. One of them airs, I think, next week. And we'll put that on Facebook once it's up there. Tell you a little bit about it. Now, where are the holes? Hey, how's it going, Stale Cupcakes? Thanks for joining us. Whoa, lost my timeline. Just finished up with some internal training videos for Microsoft, doing a trailer for a children's book series. And oh, so you're busy. Are you doing it all on your own? And are you doing the animation? Storyboards? Got a couple of emails. I just have to make sure I don't have to put out anything. Oh. Only good emails. That's a first. All on my own. And are you doing it, what program are you using? Let's see, so we're going to have Corey start running in perspective here. When I do stuff in perspective, I kind of animate straight ahead, and I know that sounds a little weird, but I find when I'm trying to in-between stuff, and it's going so crazy, like, I could really get bogged down, and it ended up, I feel like I'm a little better straight ahead at animating this kind of stuff, because, you know, I'm focusing more on the balance of the run rather than, like, in-betweening it. And I do all the effects, and this is really thick. I'm going to have to change this to make it look better. But I'll do all this straight ahead, so I can really play with the perspective. CC stuff, animating also. Yep. No, that's the industry standard now. Are they all due around the same time? I find when we take multiple jobs, it's always sort of due at the same time, or like, you know, one's due Thursday, one's due Friday, that kind of stuff. We have one due Monday, then another one where we have a bunch of renders due Tuesday, which just takes Bob out of, you know, because his computer just lagging to do stuff. So it's like we're down to the... Oh god. Yeah, yeah, I do too. And I'm losing mine too, so I won't have too much gray hair much longer. No, it's we kind of just say yes to every job though, with, you know, price contingent, and we never, it always sort of seems to work out. I know that sounds corny, but we, you know, even when stuff's due at the same time, I feel like one always inevitably gets delayed. Or, you know, animation's a weird thing because last week we were so far behind with the animation that we had to do. And we were going into Friday and we're like, how the heck are we going to do this and all that stuff. And then, yeah, you know, I put in a couple hours Saturday and Sunday when my kids are asleep. And then, you know, all of a sudden Monday hits and we're fine. And it just, like, I just tend to do this thing where I equate, it's like, well, this one took all week to do, so why won't the others take all week to do now too? Because we had 3 interstitials to do, and we spent a lot of time on just one of the trailers, and we're like, you know, if you just kind of add that all up, the trailer being 15 seconds and the rest being a minute, I times it by 4. But then all of a sudden it's done, and I don't know if you just get comfortable with the characters that you're starting with or what it is really, but it feels like it's not going to get finished and then it's done. It's a weird kind of thing. And I'll look back at the end of the week and I don't really remember even animating some of this stuff. But it's done, so I know it was one of us. Yeah, you just put your head down. Yeah, no, I do that too. And I find a lot of my work gets done at night when the absence of emails happen. We don't have sort of producer at our studio, so we have to do all the emails. And those of you who've dealt with producers or anyone on kind of the pre-production side of things know how much they love to email and start fires and all this garbage. So we'll spend the majority of the day just writing emails or asking for more time or, what does that mean kind of stuff. And it adds up. I seem to be less under pressure. Yeah, no, that's true too. Like when my feet are when my foot's to the fire, I do get a lot more done. Like all anxiety based. But no, it's a strange thing. Then all of a sudden it's done, and I love looking back at the end of the year. When we're doing our books and stuff, and kind of reading over the pay stubs and all that kind of stuff, and seeing, another subscriber. Thank you, whoever that is. So whoever, when I love looking back at the end of the year at that stuff, and you're just like, wow, what? You look back at how much you've actually drawn or got finished in a year. It's always a surreal feeling, I think, because it just seemed impossible at the beginning of the year that you could ever get that much done. So let's see here. How does this all look now that I'm babbling? Yeah, I think that, that's kind of funny. And it's 3 seconds, which is a pretty good amount of time. So I appreciate people who could pick up the phone and hop on Skype and talk to me. I'm a producer and I hate you. Oh, we got a producer here, everyone. What do you produce? I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. New Challenger, I'm going to say. I was going to say Nut Challenger, but New Challenger. What do you produce on? Yeah, I don't like emails myself. That's not a bad thing. I appreciate people who can pick up the phone and hop on Skype. Oh, game and music. What, video games, I take it? Oh, okay. So he turned you on to this. Did he let you know what we're working on at all? He's behind me. Okay, good. I don't know if you, I don't know how strict your work is, Andrew, so I'm not sure if you're allowed to be listening to me or what the deal is, so... but always nice to meet a friend of Andrew's for sure. So what was I saying about the end of the year kind of thing? Yeah, I find it always very fascinating how much you get done, and I don't know. One day soon, I want to actually kind of really buckle down and just see how many drawings I do a week. And I guess I could just count, I date everything and I guess I could count it, but I'm always I always feel like I think I could do more, or maybe I'm underestimating myself, so I really don't know. Then I just want to calculate how much that would mean for a year. We're going to follow the path. So his arms keep going out there. Okay, that's right. And this will just sort of be a smear frame almost. Just get rid of that one quick. So we'll worry about the actual vampire blob, as we are calling it, later, because we can fill that out. And I'll probably animate that blob on a guide layer when I get to animation, and then I'll figure out how we're gonna fill it with vampires and stuff, because if we use that as the base color and then we can add like the extraneous stuff to it. So say this was fully animated, then we can go on a top layer and sort of add hands or faces or whatever we kind of want to it. And it, since this is mostly symbolic now, it doesn't really even have to be anatomical. And it could even feel like a one thing, almost like that. And then I'll just kind of animate that straight ahead too. So we can worry about secondary there. A lot like if you were to traditionally do, like, animated someone with long hair. You would do the skull first, and then you worry about what the hair is doing last. So we got that. I'm going to extend this to feel like that. Okay. Let's see how it feels within everything. Going to change the background color back to what we were doing. See how it feels. World color. One darker. I'm excited to see what Bob will do with the music and all this. Yeah, so it's hard to see the kind of the dark blob right there, but this is feeling decent enough, I think, to think about what we're going to do with Becky now before we get to that part. So I'm going to change the color back because I can't really see that. All right, so we want to showcase their personalities for sure. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And she's she's a brutish kind of character in that she uses her fist and all that stuff. But we really want to play up sort of the stealth angle, since the big kind of lumbering guy will be more strength oriented. So, the direction of the camera is going this way. Come on now. So we're going to have Becky come this way in, and this will sort of be kind of the mask that, like, this will be, your eye direction is going towards Corey. Now we're going to have Becky kind of show up here. So your eye will kind of be directed going that way now. Just wanted to make sure. So what I'll do here is double click inside the symbol, so I know where the cutoff is at this point. And I could also always bring a field guide in to this symbol. I just tend not to because it gets clunky and stuff. So we're going to redline some Becky stuff. So I think since Corey entered kind of left, towards the camera, he's a bigger type character at that point. I'm going to have Becky sort of, maybe we'll do a run cycle of her kind of in the foreground too. So she'll be looking kind of profile, like she's chasing something down maybe. The cape in there. I haven't drawn Becky in a while. Got the shape all wrong. So I hit Control-Shift-W to get back into workspace. I'll probably shrink her a little bit. So So she pulled out her weapon. She'll be still using that. Let's see if that's Flash. Oh, what program is it? Yeah, it's Flash MX, and those of you who've watched it before, excuse me for repeating sort of the same thing, but I do like explaining why I use Flash MX. I grew up in the animation industry around 2003, and that's when Flash MX was a new program, or newish. And I just sort of learned the ropes with it, so I always stayed in Flash MX for anything of the personal projects. Now, to get around that, we have new computers and stuff that Cody built. So we're on Windows 7. We're really kind of, not old school, just, medium school or whatever you call it. So to make it happen is a real cumbersome kind of thing, but I just find I draw a little better in Flash MX. So let's see, we'll call this one Becky Run. We'll clean this up a little bit since I kind of want to start on a good foot with her. I'm going to do another rough pass at her though, because I'm not a fan of the head. She always has this button nose. And then there are two ponytail sort of buns there. Her cape. So run cycles, it's the same as walk, where your arms are opposite your legs. So if your right leg's going forward, your left arm's going forward too. There's this weapon right here that she's going to be using. That's a little better. I'm pretty rusty with her, I'm going to be honest though. I haven't drawn her since last week. That's something that'll work for storyboards for sure. So now the cleanup. That's good. I always play with her eyebrows too. They're kind of non-existent in the sprite sheet, but whenever she's angry, I really push them to be the almost as just a character accent. We'll do something like that. I don't even need any of that. Probably not. Gonna forego any face detail and make her look cuter without them, I think. Alright. Ooh, that's a little big. And what I do is try to always keep her shape pretty simple, like just everything sort of one action line to do. And she is sort of, this is her shape pretty much. This is her head. And we do a triangle because she's usually wearing a cape. And then, you fill out the big eyes and you can I try to kind of have a big canvas for the head so you can do like funny things if you want, with kind of the negative space in her face. Let's see, so we got our field hockey stick. Bob's also been working on a world map. I was really excited to see. It was fun kind of coming up with new places where we can go in the video game. Alright, so she'll be chasing something down. Alright, so we got that one. So again, I'm going to double click in this so I see the work area, and she's going to come in with some kind of camera. We're moving the camera, so she'll start over here. I'll put her under Corey so we can kind of use him as sort of the scene change. Hey, how you doing? Hyper Flippy Pasta. I'm sorry, I'm never good with these kind of names. Thanks for joining us. Okay, well that could go a lot faster. Trying to keep this action. Yeah, so that'll work. We could probably skip on it so it's not so overlapping. What I'm going to do actually in this one is shrink this even more because she's looking a little big. Like that. And we'll add some stuff to the background to give more context. Oh, let's see. We're just sort of in the middle. I'll show. Let me show Hyper Flippy Pasta what we're kind of working on here. Because if you're just joining us, it's a storyboard for the intro of our video game Blood we're making. So we're kind of just working on what is probably a 30 to 40 second. Let me just make sure that's long enough. Probably around 45 seconds, I'm guessing. We'll keep it in intervals of 15, but I don't want to make a minute. It's too much action to do. So this part's still roughed out, but okay, then we'll continue on that, and then at the end they kind of all meet. And then, yeah, you see we're kind of going to probably get around 45 seconds with the title, which is exactly where we should land, I think. Alright, let's go back to that color. Alright, so what can we have Becky doing? She's going to be chasing down something. And this is sort of how I write action. I just kind of look at this and watch what would be interesting to do next. And it's very kind of almost improv-ish, where I don't know what Becky can be doing. And you see, I cut him off. Damn it. We'll keep it up. We'll just remember to clean that up. So she's running, maybe she'll... Oh, it would be fun to do sort of like a smoke kind of thing, like she almost peels out because the camera's moving, so she's running back, and then she'll like end up over here like at a stop. with her weapon out. And we could do like a fun smoke kind of thing. Then she could jump into the action kind of thing. So I might have to switch the weapon to be on the other side in the run cycle. We'll figure that out. And at this point, we can almost stop the background. So what I'll do for this one, and I'll show you how I do an ease out on this one. So it'll call that single frame. So almost like that, and we can have her do some action here. So the camera's not moving necessarily anymore. So. And we'll have, like, say something show up, you know, like almost like the camera's turning, even though we're gonna cheat the background, but some guy will be in the foreground here, maybe ready to pounce on her. So that guy will come in. Then we can do some fun kind of camera angles, but let's figure out how we're gonna do that. Now, when I do something like this for the background where I want it to ease out, because you see how it stops too abruptly, like it's just because we're not, the motion path for the background right now is just a steady 0 as in terms of a tween. Now when you want it to come to a slow down, what I'll usually do is I'll pick the place where it's going to start. I break the symbol. I know it has to end there, so I'll keep that on a different level. So I'm going to break the symbol right now. So now it's not panning anymore, right? But I know it lines up there. And then I just pan it over to what this is. And depending on when I want the camera to start, I'll just go to 100 like that. And that's still a little fast, so I can almost... It just is that simple as that, sort of come to an ease rather than just this abrupt stop. I noticed in a lot of flash animations, they don't really play, like especially with camera moves, they'll do just no ease in, ease out, and I always found it a little jarring. Like if you're just doing a regular zoom in, here, like the difference, I'll do something real quick. So the difference between 150, say, we'll really shrink them down. Say 50. So say you wanted, now of course you'd change it for, if this was a funny face and you wanted to smash cut, you would do ease out, but there's the difference, and I'm just going to copy both layers. So what I would do normally is motion tween, then an ease in, ease out. So, you know, it starts slow, comes in, then ends slow. So there's that. And I know a lot of people just sort of get, like, say this was an embedded animation scene, then there's that. And you could, maybe it's a subtle difference, but that just feels very flashy to me, where this feels more like a natural camera move. Would say a guy had to zoom into it, he would start slow, the fastest point would be the middle, and then he would stop. And there's variations of this one, where you could do something like I said, the smash cut. I'm just going to copy this. So it's the same exact scene, but just you can play with the camera, and the camera's also a character when you think about it. Now what I would do is, ease in and ease out again, but the end is 5, so it's like boom, like that. And then there's the opposite, and then there's an ease in, neutral, ease out, which I like to do for camera pans. I've seen that in Animate actually. We've actually rough day near the old exit. Yeah, oh no, that's Riverhead. That's a good day for Riverhead. Yeah, I've seen that in Animate, and I've actually played with it. Bob's whiz with After Effects. He does all the camera moves and stuff in there too. But you can see it's the same kind of drawing. It's the same thing, but just different moods with your camera. So, you know, same exact stuff, just a lot of different stuff happening there. So I always encourage newer students and stuff to really play with that kind of stuff and learn sort of the fundamentals that way. So she's going to peel out here. We're going to have some dust. I always use dust to cover up any shortcomings our animation has too. It's a fun kind of thing, and you know, we all just dissipate it. Now, we did some fun stuff in the blood short we made with camera angles, which I'm going to kind of get into here, I think. A little callback to. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you what we did. And have to be careful. I could show you guys something we're working on and get in a little bit of trouble. Though I doubt any of them are watching. Why would our clients have interest in animation? Bleachery or blood. Okay. Gosh. Flash. I'm gonna assume it's finished. Say it's finished if this is even it. Okay. Let me turn down the music a little bit. Now you can see I did a lot of this stuff in Line Tool and all this stuff. So this is kind of the evolution of where we started with it. And we got into the camera. Now I clean this up all with Line Tool, which is a giant pain. So this is sort of the stuff I wanted to kind of play with in this scene. We could really play with the angles and stuff. Oh, thanks, Jones. Then she headbutts. So this is a little more violent than where we're kind of going with this. Then she turns back in.
OMG, Dad! I told you I had cheerleading practice.
So you can see this is sort of, I don't know, it's a little flatter than what we're doing. We're going a little more cartoony. She's a little younger now and all that stuff. And we definitely played with the line weight a lot. How did you animate in slow-mo? Well, some of it was a shape tween. Like this was all shape tween stuff. It's all probably broken now because it was multiple layers. Oh no, there's something here. So let's see how I did this. So yeah, you can see I was big into sort of cheating with puppeting and stuff. But what's this? So this is sort of one layer. And now what I did here was like you could see where I started with this line and went all the way around and stuff. So it was a lot of shape tweening and stuff. And I shot it all on ones, which is kind of a big no-no for slow motion. It kind of gives away that you're cheating. How's Becky here? Oh, these are all the shape tweens, actually. You can go layer by layer here. Let's see what I did. This is what I'm talking about. I don't remember doing stuff like this. Years of partying in college, I don't know what I did to my brain, but so you can see all the separated stuff. I'm assuming That's the fist, which I probably did some shape tweening in there too, just to change it. No one would even notice it. No, what a waste of time. That's the body. What is this? Oh, that's the line on it. How does sleep on shape tweening? No, it's you can get away with it, and I do some stuff with even in Flex Caliber with the backgrounds. I did some of it in shape tweens just to make it, but I always shot it on twos. I feel like doing it on twos is sort of the way to kind of coast on not cheating, or it looks like it's not cheating. You can see that's all shape tween, and what's masked here? Our hair. And now the thing is, yeah, now we can do it in slow motion, and Bob did some cool effects, and it looks cool, but you can see all the layers and stuff. Sometimes I feel like I could have done it quicker traditionally. I mean, yeah, this is 72 drawing, so no, not in this case, but, you know, I know the sensation when I get to layer heavy and I'm just focusing on that kind of stuff, and it's now all this stuff is traditional. So I went from that super lot of layers to this one's all just one layer now. You know, everything's on one layer that I cleaned up with the brush tool. I mean, so. And Bob did some fantastic effects with this. If you check out on our website, you can look up the old Blood intro and find what he did with the backgrounds and all that stuff. But and yeah, it was a bit of a luscious school too. Yeah. No, the only thing that stops me from drinking now is that I'm too busy. So I better never lose my job, else I'm going to end up down at the bar again. And I drink during these too, so go figure. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. You can get a little too layer heavy, and that's why I'm trying to find more of a balance. And if we were approaching this as a 1990-ish Cartoon Network-ish feel, I want to do it in sort of the same way they would do it, and not to say they have antiques or any of that stuff, but treat it as a traditional as I can. They'll get an Emmy for this. They're crazy. No, I don't know. We've never really won any awards, so it would be nice to be recognized among the community. Yeah, so we're gonna treat all this traditionally. Now that means I can't do slow-mo and stuff, but that's okay because we don't have the time for it anyway. But it was fun seeing those angles and stuff, and not to say I won't even draw inspiration from that kind of from our old short. I just can't really just place it in there now. It's the line weight's so different, the design's different. Plus, when she's slicing everything up, that's a little more violent than we're ready for, or we're prepared to kind of do. So she kind of backs up here. We got this guy showing up. Then she gets kind of dashed towards him, maybe. The smoke still dissipating. Then we can do a funnier punch. That I mean, that not to say that wasn't. I mean, the punch wasn't the problem that we're gonna have in this one. It was the slicing up that probably and it's funny because it's called Blood and it's about vampires and it's sort of this dark murder mystery. But we noticed when we were playing or when we were showcasing our stuff that a lot more younger kids were playing it because of it looks very cartoony and the beginning's very bubbly, so we don't want it to be necessarily a misdirect where a young kid's going to play it and then all this horror stuff happens and then we don't want anything like that. So we'll punch it. You're going to just get. So she kind of comes through and does this thing. So I'll probably change her angle just so it's a better silhouette. Because I want her to... So the punch will go like that. His neck will twist this way. We can always shrink this too, which I'm going to have to do, I think. And we can make him look, you know, kind of goofy. The cape will swing that way. The wrist will actually bend that way. You know, then she can even... I did this in Flex Caliber too with a bunch of punches. Could actually show that was a little cartoony too, but that's very much for adults. So she could do a 1-2 punch kind of thing. So she'll end up on this side now with the other punch, and another goofy face. But she could be in the air for this one. And let's see. She can maybe kind of... She'll land in the foreground a little bit and kind of do maybe like a shoulder roll so the guy, you know, all with the camera. That doesn't look like much from now, but so she tosses him. You know, that guy's gone, then, you know, another guy will come in, maybe take a dive, and now she'll do more of the stealthier stuff, so we'll see. And it's all about, the action I find is all about almost eye direction, where the audience eye is going to be, so you're kind of following that guy, and that guy comes from the left, and she'll, you know, leap over him. Maybe like step on him. Have to go a lot higher. You know, kick him off, and he'll go flying this way. Thing again. Maybe have her weapon, so she kicks him off, shoots him that way. And I think this would be a fun time to sort of have Kristoff show up too. You know, maybe a guy gets almost thrown to her. Like a guy gets thrown, so someone or something thrown one of these vampires at the other, from the other direction. And yeah, you'll have to excuse how loose these are. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. More Flex Caliber. Yeah, we hope to, you know, we're actively pitching Flex Caliber now, so hopefully someone picks it up. We have pretty limited options with the content though, so if we have 2 options really, both of them pass, that would have been a waste of 9 months. So I'll say that. That guy gets tossed, and maybe. So he's coming that way. He lands here. So like he's gonna start landing here. Say this guy lands down here. She does a flip and lands that way. She leaps up, ready to get this guy. And now maybe Kristoff can come in from screen left too, like, you know, move through that guy. And he could be kind of wrestling maybe a bunch of them. So what I'll do is... So he'll just come in and he'll be kind of surrounded by a bunch, but kind of manhandling one. He's got one in a headlock, maybe. We got one kind of gnawing at him, maybe. Well, we can't have him bite him, I guess. Technically, he turned into a vampire. So, kind of just having his way with him. And when I get to animating this scene, what I would do first is, again, the secondary stuff would be kind of the aliens. My son's super into aliens now, so I always have to tell Cooper, my son Cooper, about them. Vampires. I'll do that last. So yeah, those who've watched Flexcalibur, there's a scene where Flex is running up the giant arm, and there's a bunch of kind of spore creatures chasing him. So what I did was the arm first, followed by Flex, then all the secondary stuff. So I treat it almost like hair again, where we'll call this Kristoff Russell, where I would do kind of him kind of tussling with this guy he has in a headlock, and then all the secondary guys, and then we can worry about them later. So I'll separate that right now. Let me clean this up a little better. Yeah, my son's super into aliens. He's almost 4, so every week he's into something new. I'm not making this easy on ourselves, am I, Cody? Like, this probably won't get done by June. But Rome wasn't built in a day either. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to talk with some big wigs, actually. I just got a text from our writer with who's working on Flex with us. So things are happening. I had to read the email. I assumed it was good. It could be bad. In which case, I won't subject you guys to me being angry on camera. Cody sees it enough. Netflix can put out Love Death Robots. Oh yeah, no, that was great. That Love Death Robots thing. I was blown away by that. It's sort of what I love anthologies. I decided like I'm not. I mean, I like series and stuff when all that stuff, but I love that they can take a risk with these anthologies because 11 minutes short doesn't work out. Who cares? But it just everything had such a beautiful style, and I like thematically I liked it a lot. A lot of it was action heavy. It was violent at times, funny during others, and I was just so happy to see someone doing stuff like that. They got giant names attached to it. The directors, anyway. But no, I would love to, eventually get something on Netflix. And I mean, we're aiming for it. We just have to hit the target. Each episode has some great stuff and has a nice change. Yeah, I like short. Short. It reminded me of Liquid TV back in the day, and I grew up on that stuff, and it was so much fun. So embedded in this symbol, I would do his animation or storyboard or whatever we're calling this first. Then I'll do the secondary monsters here and put them on a different layer. Oh, we're keeping the aliens again. Vampires. Great. Alright, let's get that done. I grew up on the two. I hated that Ian Flux movie. Oh gosh, yeah. I can't believe they even took a risk on the live action. I mean, what was the point? No, I love Ian Flux. Reminded me of like the Mobius stuff and all. It's weird. I rip on the '90s a lot, but I find a lot of my influences, artistic wise, like the Max was one of my favorite comics growing up, by Sam Keith. And when that came out on Liquid TV, I was just coming into animation and all that stuff. I was just loving how, like, it expand. This is pre-internet, so I didn't have a lot of exposure to anything but regular cartoons. The huge stampede. Oh yeah, I got every comic of the Max here in the studio, so I always look at it for inspiration. Just the colors alone are beautiful. But no, every cartoon I saw up to that point, other than a few animes like Akira and stuff, was just Looney Tunes or whatever was on television. So getting to see MTV like really do some crazy stuff was like, oh, you can, yeah. And it was like, why can't you animate anything? It wasn't it just didn't dawn on me that you could just animate anything you wanted. It was just like, it has to be kid stuff, or it has to be this, or it has to be that. And then you see all these cool things coming out, and you're like, oh yeah, you can draw whatever your mind lets you to. And it was right around the time when I got into SVA and all that stuff, so it really just influenced me like months before I got into school. So it was a fun time. And like then the Gorillas video came out, like the first animated Gorillas video, which was again was a few months into school, but it was just like, oh my gosh, you could do any. Yeah, again, it was like just reinforced that you could do anything you want again. Not, everyone was focused on doing Disney stuff, or there was a few studios coming out and all that stuff, and and then here comes Gorillas, and I was like, oh, this is what I want to animate, and still find inspiration in that kind of stuff. That'll be that. We'll work on Kristoff next week. So we're kind of wrapping it up in. I sort of wish I've done the animation there. Did graphic design. Oh, you did, you went to SVA. What year did you graduate? Might have crossed paths. Okay. 2007. Yeah, I was there. There for 7 years. What were you getting your master's and all that stuff? Don't switch majors. Are you saying just go to school for 7 years if you're going to be a doctor, maybe? What did you switch your majors to? We're all the same age. Man, I just assumed people on Twitch were just going to be a little younger than me, but lost 2 whole years switching from digital art. Oh, those are 2 different things. Yeah, I think they kind of combine them now too. So no, I substitute teach at SVA every once in a while. So I get to go there now, and what a difference! Excuse me, while Babylon burns behind me. But man, what a difference a few, I guess a few decades make, but. Alright, so let's watch this down, and I promised you guys I would finish that scene this week, but time keeps on ticking. Let's watch it down, see if anything sticks out. I'm gonna text my buddies back. Oh, okay, nothing urgent. Alright. Basically just focused on character animation. Yeah, I remember I had to fight Reeves, or not fight him, but he was the animation head at the time. To take digital composition because I was a traditional animator, they didn't want me to learn anything on a computer. But ironically, look now, I had to take some summer courses just to open up some humanities to do it. And it was a real hassle doing it too, It cost me money. Not SVA already cost me. At least I don't have any student loans left, but it was this thing they didn't want me to do. It was crazy. It was like, imagine denying someone wanting to learn something after we hand over a 6-figure check to get them an education. Okay, so yeah, that needs a lot of work. But you can kind of see it's coming together here. We're going to end up probably around the 45-second mark, which is perfect. And maybe next week I can finish this. Who knows? If I get time during the week, I can also work on it, which is a beautiful thing. My school was the reverse. I went to SCAD. Oh no, they let you. You mean they taught digital comp and all that stuff, or you mean you were allowed to take whatever you want in terms of your curriculum? Oh, of course, anytime. Yeah, every next Friday at 2:00. We have more deadlines due, but that's okay. I have these. I'll put these on deadline too. Let's watch it one more time since I was focusing on my phone. Oh, I'm tired. Yeah, this is all kind of still holding up for me, which is a good sign. There's some tightening up to do. It might be a little redundant at times if we're going to keep doing uppercuts and stuff, so we might need some new creative moves. And I'll be interested to see what Bob comes up with. I don't know. I think this will get people excited if they see an intro when we start advertising it. So, hopefully. Great seeing you work and actually hearing you talk through your thought process. Oh, thank you. No, I'm glad. I hope it doesn't come off as babbling and all that stuff. We're still new to the Twitch thing, so I don't know if I'm talking too much or not saying enough. So if you guys ever have any questions, like thanks for everyone chiming in and stuff, just reach out and tell me. And usually Bob's here too, helping me field the questions too. So it's a little, and there's music. I messed up and erased the music, so Bob's gonna kill me. But I think that's gonna do it for this week. Hopefully we see all you next week for what I hope to be the conclusion of the storyboards, and then we get to the fun stuff because then it's all animation and making it look pretty. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great Monday through Thursday, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care, everyone.